As a state of relative calm returns to Saharanpur on Eid, there is a lot to be worried about the state of communal discord in India. Across the country, the fault lines of communal tension seem to be deepening. Facts borne out by numbers. Consider this. Between April and June this year, there have been 32 communal incidents in Uttar Pradesh, 26 in Maharashtra, 18 in Rajasthan, 17 in Madhya Pradesh. We'll be debating this in a few minutes, but first, this story on a day of relative peace in Saharanpur.
Prayers for peace under the shadow of the gun in Saharanpur. After 4 days of communal tension, curfew was relaxed this morning and thousands came out on the occasion of Eid.
असल में ईद का जो मकसद है वो तो अमन और भाईचारे का है पहले से ही, तो आज भी यही संदेश जाएगा देशवासियों को भी और नगरवासियों को भी.
But the mood was noticeably more somber. Many people wore black armbands. In this bylane of the old city, 3 Muslim and 3 Hindu families have been living alongside each other for years. Haji Riyasat has been staying here for 5 years and would always send across sweets to his Hindu neighbors. Though they have gathered today at his house, there are no sweets to distribute.
कर्फ्यू खुला, नमाज पढ़ी और घर में आ गए. फोन फान आ रहे हैं हमारे पास, फोन कर लिए, फोन पर बात हो रही सबसे. अब क्या ऐसी बात नहीं है, अब के चहल पहल डेकोरेशन कुछ नहीं हो.
बच्चों के कपड़े भी नहीं दर्जी के यहाँ से लेके आए, बच्चे भी पुराने पहन रहे हैं हमारे. तो
आप बोल रही थी कि तबीयत भी खराब थी. आप
हमारी तबीयत खराब है, दवाई भी नहीं ले पा रहे हैं हम बिल्कुल भी.
अब ऐसे हालात हो गए कि मिठाई तक नहीं आई, ना हमने बांटी, ना हमने सीर बनाया, ना हमें दूध मिला.
For these families in Saharanpur, this time Meethi Eid was not so sweet. But as Saharanpur entered its 4th day of curfew, common prayers went out both from the Hindu and Muslim neighborhoods that peace should return to their city once again. With Ashok Mahale in Saharanpur, Tanima Biswas for NDTV.
So are the fault lines of communal discord in India actually deepening? That's what we're looking at this evening. That story was from Saharanpur, a state of relative calm over there. But if you look at the statistics, and we'll be looking at that in a moment, in fact, it appears all across the country. We've just had elections now, but earlier on in states ruled by the Congress and the BJP alike in 2013, the numbers were truly shocking and seemed to match up to each other. But let's just introduce our panel at this stage. Joining me, Nalin Kohli, spokesperson of the BJP, Gaurav Bhatia, head of the legal cell of the Samajwadi Party, Shakti Singh Goel, spokesperson of the Congress, Sudhindra Kulkarni, the well-known columnist, Tushar Gandhi, the activist and Mahatma Gandhi's great-grandson, and with me in the studio, Firoz Bakht Ahmed, the educator and grandnephew of Maulana Azad. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. Sudhindra Kulkarni, let me come to you first. There's been the episode of a Muslim techie who was murdered, chapati stuffed down the gullet of a man as he kept a fast, even relatively smaller incidents, Sania Mirza. And now we see the Prime Minister not having an iftar party. He's not held iftar parties when he was even Chief Minister. He never felt the real need to do so. But do you believe that given the state of communal discord in the country, we need to at least hear more from the Prime Minister? Because there have been so many incidents. I've named just 3.
First of all, today being Eid ul-Fitr, I would like to convey my greetings, Eid greetings to all our Muslim sisters and brothers, and not only to Muslims, but all Indians, because this is a national festival. Every single festival, irrespective of the faith, it's a common festival of all of us. The message is the same. The message is peace, message is brotherhood. Now coming to your question, Vishnu, so far these incidents have been small and localized, but we should not be complacent, especially the government should not be complacent, because these small conflicts can erupt into big conflagrations. The central government, the respective state governments have to be extremely vigilant. It's their duty. Especially the new government at the center, it has won a decisive mandate on the plank of development and good governance. It should not let any of these things derail its agenda or slow down its agenda. And therefore the Prime Minister has a major responsibility. His ministerial colleagues have a responsibility. But not just the center, even central government, the state governments have a responsibility. We should see communal harmony, communal peace as a national duty, a national obligation.
No, but do you feel that the Prime Minister needs to have said more at this stage? That was my question, Mr. Kulkarni.
You see, the Prime Minister, certainly, you know, the biggest responsibility rests on the Prime Minister. He should articulate his thoughts more, he should articulate his concerns more, he should take all sections of society more, and I personally believe that he should have, I don't know what reason he had for not attending the iftar party hosted by the President Pranab Mukherjee, but these you know, symbolic gestures matter a lot. The Prime Minister belongs to all the people of India, and that is what he should convey through his actions, through his utterances, and also through his symbolic gestures.
Nalin, has the Prime Minister missed perhaps an important set of gestures?
See, I think the point here is Mr. Modi is not known for symbolism in that sense. Mr. Modi is known for action. In terms of what is meant to be his focus, he said it unequivocally that the government will function on the constitution, and he has spoken. And if I'm talking specifically of the Muslim community, he did recently in his address speak about, you know, the example of someone who was repairing a cycle and said that this is not how it's meant to be. We need to ensure that the body develops holistically. You can't have any segment of it not developing in sync or harmony with the rest of it. So I think that's about work and focus, not symbolism. The second point I want to make is that anybody who is at the receiving end of any violence is first a human being, then an Indian, then a Muslim or a Hindu. So I mean, if you're looking at the Bangalore tech, if you're looking at the techie who was attacked in Pune, the same, and I'm talking about what I see on the internet, is the question that comes on the counter side, and it's all over the Twitter also, that are we now going to start saying that a 6-year-old girl is raped by a Muslim in Bangalore? So, you know, this kind of, when you start looking at everything through the prism of religion, it's incorrect. A hoodlum has gone out, murdered a human being who's an Indian, who then happens to be a Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Christian, whatever. And I think that's the prism that with which we need to see. Now the second part is, and this is by the way, on the media only, again on Twitter, and senior colleague of, within the media, said, I don't like this selective. Either the media selects that we say X killed Y, Y killed X, community-wise,
you make an interesting point.
So therefore, I think, you know, what we are doing is we are getting locked into what I think is a cycle of which is very dangerous.
Hold that thought. I think it's an important point that you make. Let me ask you, sir, do you agree that when we have discussions like this, or when we write about this, there is an effort sometimes to perhaps see things through a religious prism. But there are those who would argue that if it's a communal incident, if it is Hindus, Muslims and Sikhs who are affected, then that is the only prism that needs to be looked at. So do you agree with what Nalin says in this regard?
I have heard my friend Nalin very carefully. I am reminded of one quote by Maulana Azad in one of his Al-Hilal magazines. And it is something like this: कोई मुश्किल नहीं है हिंदू या मुसलमान होना, हाँ बड़ी बात है इस दौर में इंसान होना. So basically we have to be humans first. And rightly said by Nalin that you know, a hoodlum is a hoodlum. He is not a Hindu first, he is not a Muslim first, he is a hoodlum, and the person who is killed in a riot or person who suffers, as people have suffered in so many places, in Saharanpur, in Moradabad, in Rampur. So they are first humans, then they are Indians, and if at all there is any need, then only they are Hindus or Muslim. Basic thing is, you see, India is a wonderful fabric, and since time immemorial, you know, Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, they have been living together. They have been supporting each other. And, you know, I am left aghast. I am shocked to see why these riots occur. I was just going through this Wikipedia site. It mentions that there are 1925 riots, and so many of them have happened just before me. So, basic thing is, you know, something has to be done. I mean, we can castigate riots, but something has to be done about it. Maybe the government formed something like national authority, which is tried the previous government. It never did. It never delivered the goods. I would ask Nalinji and you know, this present BJP government that some very concrete thing has to be done to prevent these riots, because not one person dies or suffers, the entire locality, the entire family is dispossessed and destroyed.
Mr. Goel, come in on this. You know, we often use the phrase, and it was used just now, that we are a wonderful fabric in this country. We all live together. But if you look at the numbers, they're shocking. We are not a wonderful fabric. 247 cases of communal violence were reported from UP last year. 823 incidents were reported from across the country during 2013. These are the latest figures which were presented in the Rajya Sabha. So do you believe that this prism that we look at it, everything is fine, there are small incidents and we need to overcome it, is wrong?
Vishnu, it's a very serious matter, and I would say that framers of our constitution has very wisely and rightly said we are secular country. It means we respect all the religion, fundamental rights given. Any individual citizen can follow any religion. That's a fundamental right. It's very unfortunate that in our country, the communal riots and especially on the name of religion, everything is happening. Now, with due respect, Mr. Kohli has said, no gesture, Prime Minister is believing in action. But isn't it his duty to see that any person, maybe a Sikh, maybe a minority Muslim, maybe a Jain, maybe a Hindu, but it is his duty. Every Prime Minister, this is a precedent, in a Ramjan, Iftar party, on a Eid, it's a festival of love and peace. Why he didn't wish on this day?
Well, he did, he tweeted.
But what time?
What time? When?
Why don't I show you in the morning? At 9:30 or 9:40?
He's tweeted this morning.
But
I think on camera he came very late.
No, but his tweets came early morning.
But what is the problem? If president is inviting you for iftar, you are not going there. Prime Minister, as a Prime Minister, you are not having a iftar party. As a Chief Minister,
is symbolism necessarily wrong? I think that's the point that is being raised.
9:34 a.m. Greetings.
We take that point.
Greetings on Eid al-Fitr. May this auspicious day strengthen.
Tell me, was there any
I'm clarifying, since there is a factual inaccuracy here. May this auspicious day strengthen the bond of peace, unity and brotherhood across our nation. That's the Prime Minister of India tweeting at 9:40. He's spoken.
Right. Just give me one reply. Give me one reply. When he was a prime ministerial candidate, when he was going to address one rally, Amit Shah is inviting those MLAs who are accused.
I would be happy.
And on that stage,
Mr. Gohil,
just half a second. Yes.
On that stage, if you are garlanding those MLAs who are accused in a communal riots, what type of message you want to give to the people?
I would be, in fact, I would request maybe Vishnu would consider a one-on-one and we discuss riots in India conclusively, as much in detail as you would wish. From you would have a sure look at Gujarat, and I'll go back right up to 47. We can have a full discussion on it if you feel it serves national interest. But however, I will not accept a communal agenda coming our way on a day when Eid is being celebrated. And I'm saying, so therefore, would you like this debate to go in that thing that out of 4 rapists in Shaktiville, we should be reporting the religion of each one of them? I think the crime is a crime.
Crime is a crime. That's what I am saying.
Mr. Gohil,
apart from politics and religion, whoever is the criminal,
it is important
we should look at
to be specific. If you are accusing the BJP of having an agenda, then just look at what has happened when the Congress has been in power. 1983 Delhi massacre. 1,819 Muslims were killed on a Congress watch. The 84 riots in Delhi, 2,733 Sikhs were butchered. 1969 Ahmedabad riots, 512 were killed, of which 430 were Muslims. Congress ruled Assam in 2012, the Bodoland territorial districts. 100 people nearly lost their lives. This was all on the Congress watch.
Vishnu.
So how can you claim the higher moral ground?
Vishnu, like when the Sikh riots took place, Rajiv Gandhi's mother, माँ की dead body पड़ी है घर में. And where were Rajiv Gandhi?
Rajiv Gandhi was in the street.
He was on the street to maintain peace. Did Modi visited any riot victims?
Okay.
Did Modi visited?
I will also
not a single.
Not a single. Except the fact that most of the riots, apart from Gujarat, most of the riots have taken during the tenure of Congress, and Congress has done nothing, and that's why Congress is in such a pathetic state politically.
Okay, I appreciate that. Vishnu, just give me 1 minute. Vishnu, give me 1 minute. Vishnu, wherever there was riots, whoever was in power, there was no allegation or observation from the Supreme Court that person who is in power is instigating riots. Maybe weakness, Congress may be in power, my leaders might have failed to control the riots, but the Supreme Court, the apex court of this country, has observed in the case of Modi. And riots in Gujarat, that was a state-sponsored riots. And one cannot control, and then for that,
if you look at,
but not we never try to. Like in Uttar Pradesh also.
But if you
what
look
was
at
Rahul Gandhi's message? We'll have a peace march.
Much more than the other cases.
Let me hold on. I want
Whether
to
it was in Chhattisgarh,
Mr. Goyal has raised Gujarat, so I will now come to that back on Gujarat. First of all, the Congress party for years has been saying there was a delay in sending the army. Most of them don't even know that on 27th, 28th of February, the next working day is the 1st of March. There is neither a 29th, 30th or a 31st. So they say delay. The army was there in 20 hours. Let me finish, Mr. Goyal. Second is Mr. Modi was there at Godhra and said, this is not a communal incident. This is a terrorist incident. On the 28th, it is there in the archives, draw it up right now. He appealed through Doordarshan and other channels by saying, I pray, and with folded hands to say, please come. When they raise the Gujarat riots and talk about deaths in Gulbarg society, they forget to say about 150 people who the police pulled out. They forget to talk of the Nurani Masjid area by 5,000 people were pulled out.
I have other panelists. I will get you to respond. One moment. I've got two other panelists. I just want to come across to Gaurav Bhatia first, because I know he needs to leave us in a little while from now. Gaurav, just between April and June this year, 32 incidents in Uttar Pradesh. Every time the government says that the law and order situation in Uttar Pradesh is relatively okay, if you look at the size of the state, come these numbers. And I can give you numbers from last year as well. But 32 incidents in just the last few months, communal incidents in Uttar Pradesh, isn't this a massive cause of concern?
The total is around 200 big and small riots.
Vishnu.
Yes, go ahead.
First of all, I would like to tell you that if you're talking about these 32 communal incidents that have happened in the state, the law and order situation and the number of communal incidents have come down in this quarter, and the reasons are that state has taken measures like active patrolling. It has learned a lot of lessons from Muzaffarnagar riots as well, and we can have a separate discussion on that, the incidence of these communal violences with respect to the population that the state has, whether it's faring well or not. But I would like to focus on another part of the debate, and that is, why are these incidents happening? Are they happening because there is tension prevailing in an area between two communities? Or is it happening because somebody is trying to take political advantage out of it? I will give you an example of Moradabad. Moradabad, it was a very small issue. The two communities came together. They entered into an agreement, and it was decided that the mic would be put back on the 3rd of August. But the BJP leaders started to take law in their own hands. They started threatening the administration.
What were you doing?
Is this the kind of behavior that we expect from our public servants? I don't think so. And therefore, it's not just the Moradabad incident. Even in the Muzaffarnagar, it was pointed out correctly by the Congress representative that these MLAs and MPs who were found to be orchestrating a riot were being felicitated. This sets a wrong precedence, and now they have been charge sheeted in those cases. The other incidents that you mentioned about a chapati being thrust upon a worker, or for that matter Sania Mirza's comment, or we heard the Deputy Chief Minister of Goa saying this is a Hindu Rashtra. We have not heard from the top leadership of the BJP condemning such statements.
Okay.
And therefore, I think this is deplorable. And this needs to be nipped in the bud.
Okay, just a moment, Gaurav. Nalin Kohli wants to reply. Mr. Gandhi, I'm coming to you next. Go ahead, Nalin.
No,
Mr. I've heard you.
I've heard you, Gaurav. Before Mr. Nalin.
Okay. Just briefly, Gaurav. Yeah, finish your point.
Yeah. The second point is about symbolic gestures, like Mr. Narendra Modi not attending the iftar party, not even hosting an iftar party. I would like to remind my friend Mr. Nalin Kohli that he went to the Kashi Vishwanath Mandir and he prayed over there. There was a aarti done at the Ganga Ghat. Now, if you are doing certain acts and you are not even doing symbolic acts to give confidence to the minority community, to other communities. I think that is counterproductive.
Okay, go ahead, Nalin. All right, okay, Gaurav, one sec, you made your point, Nalin.
I have 4 points.
reply.
I'll go in reverse order. Well, let's start with this. Which constituency is Mr. Modi from? Varanasi. Second is, what's his religion? Would you like to discuss that? Are you saying by the same logic that if a Hindu is doing an arti, he should be asked to go into a masjid and pray, and a Muslim should go from a masjid to a temple and pray, which is against? What are you saying? I think you are entering into dangerous area. The third issue, you have raised about questions about symbolism, and you have said no comment from the BJP leadership on lots of things. Can we hear which Samajwadi Party leader said to Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav, boys will be boys for committing rape? And the Shakti Mills case, where out of the 4 in Moradabad, while he was standing there conversing, hold on communal, while I'm saying it on communal, while he was in Moradabad appealing for moats, he says, ladke to ladke hain, or kya, which the Shakti Mills case, where out of 4 rapists, what was he trying to say to the 3 of them? And I'll say it on the air, 3 of them were Muslim young boys. So are we now going to communalize crime? That was a crime against humanity in the sense of raping a woman. And you don't understand what it means. And you're going to just say, just because somebody is Hindu or Muslim, you're going to take a different view on it. A rape is a rape. And as simple as that. And you are here giving lots of logic about what you expect from the others. Govern Uttar Pradesh. That's your limited mandate from the people of Uttar Pradesh. Do that.
Vishnu,
and at the end of it, people will let you know whether you've done a good job or not. They haven't certainly been enthused with the results of the Lok Sabha results.
Gaurav?
Vishnu, I would not like to get into that debate because we are discussing communal violence and role of BJP in not. I have discussed that on a number of occasions, even on your channel. But the point that I wish to make is that if you see the data given by the ADR, there is a provision in the Indian Penal Code 153A which says that a person who tries to incite violence on the basis of communal feelings is to be charged by 153A. Maximum number of leaders who have been booked under that 153A are from the BJP and from the Shiv Sena.
Who files the case? The local police.
This is no coincidence. It is because their leadership itself is somewhere giving a free rope to these leaders to make such statements if it suits their political exigencies. And I can assure you,
on the Prime Minister.
Okay, all right, gentlemen, I do have to go across to Mr. Gandhi.
Yes, but
I'll come to you next.
I just want to say the Prime Minister in that context has said, all people against members of Parliament, etc., there is any kind of case, it should be tried within a year. We are moving to that.
Okay.
So if there is a false case, it won't work. And if there is a true case, the person will go to jail. So I mean, that's the best movement in it.
Mr. Naran Kohli, I made a slightly different point. That most of the leaders who are booked under 153A are from the BJP or the Shiv Sena. They are not from other.
I don't want to. I need to go across to Mr. Gandhi. When the two of you just bear with me for a moment. Mr. Gandhi, you've been waiting very, very patiently. I want to ask you this. Saharanpur, there is tension in Kathua. There is the incident of pork being served in a Catholic school in Kerala. There is tension in Naigaon. There's tension in Moradabad. Is there a common thread in any of this?
The common thread, Vishnu, is our society is becoming intolerant. But before I answer your question, I want to say I feel disgusted sitting and listening to these opportunistic politicians, not even having the decency of not trying to score political points in this very social issue that we are trying to discuss over here. Even an issue so sensitive and social, these rascals are trying to score political debating points against each other. I'm sorry I'm using strong language, but I feel ashamed being on this panel with this bunch of opportunistic panelists.
Who's the rascal, Mr. Gandhi?
All of them, all the politicians. All the politicians.
I take offense to this.
I'm
sorry. Just because he is Mr. Gandhi's great grandson, he doesn't have that. No, I'm sorry. I take strong offense to this. And I'm taking this is unacceptable from the great grandson of Mahatma Gandhi. Rascal, why don't you extend it and use another abusive word, Mr. Gandhi?
a sensitive
Vishnu,
issue.
I mean, I wish you had heard exactly what I had said in the beginning, Mr. Gandhi. A human being is a human being.
He has no right to call all
No, I am sorry.
One sec, Mr.
No, I'm
Gandhi.
sorry.
Mr. Gandhi.
He has to withdraw that comment.
Mr. Gandhi, I don't think it's right. I don't think, Mr. Gandhi, I don't think, Mr. Gandhi, it is right for you to have used that word. Would you like to rephrase what you're trying to say?
Absolutely not acceptable.
Well, one moment.
Opportunists.
Would I-
All right, okay, fine. Okay, fine.
I want to know one moment.
He's
He should
changed that. He's
Would I
withdrawn
submit?
it. He's withdrawn that comment. He says opportunist. So carry on with your point, Mr. Gandhi, using that word. Go ahead.
This is a social malice that faces this nation. The divisions are deep rooted, the prejudices are deep rooted, and none of the political parties are doing anything to heal those wounds. Instead, they score political points and they keep deepening those wounds, deepening those chasms. Unfortunately, we've been carried away by this divide and rule thing about saying foreigners came and divided us, our own people come and divide us, but we must come to the fact and the realization that we are a divided society ourselves, and that is why such opportunists find it easy to divide us further and inflame communal passions. And so for small issues that can be resolved locally become huge configurations, and infernos are lit at the drop of a word and a drop of a hat. And everything is communalized, whether it is crime, whether it is social behavior, whether it is etiquette, everything is communalized. The Prime Minister doesn't have a iftar, it's communalized. The Prime Minister has a iftar, it's communalized. Forget about the iftar. What about the society that is being completely destroyed? We keep talking about our fabric. What fabric? It's torn asunder. We can't come and talk to each other these days without fighting and abusing.
Having heard Tushar, let me tell you, it's good that you have rephrased that word, because we are all people, who should use parliamentary language and not unparliamentary. One point I want to make here is, this thing you have said very rightly, that all the politicians should come out of mere tokenism, and tokenism is not going to serve Indian people, and unless they are going to give some we have seen, the good days from BJP, they are not coming, the way these were expected. So it should not be tokenism, it should be good governance, and it should go to each and every person, each and every individual, especially the people who are left out, who are the poor, who are the ones who are not getting their chunk of facilities in this system. And apart from that, one thing which is very important is that so far as India is concerned, let us not forget that we are a unit which has worked for centuries together. And Vishnu Som, let me also tell you that in West Bengal, Durga, at the time of Durga Puja, all these idols are made by Muslims. At the time of Kali Puja, pandals are made by Muslims. In Rajasthan, at the time of Meera's festival,
Hindus and Muslims come together.
It has been a close-knit society. But unfortunately, these politicians, I agree with Tushar, these politicians are just,
there's one part of this debate which
asunder.
we've not touched on. I think I need to get into that. Sudhindra Kulkarni, the communal violence bill, the BJP was completely opposed to this earlier on. The Prime Minister, even before he came to power and after that, has said that there will be a national policy which will be framed. But isn't this the need of the hour in a certain sense, that there may have been shortcomings with the communal violence bill, but shouldn't something along those lines be set up immediately or as soon as possible?
The communal violence bill was one of the most flawed bills ever drafted by government. And in fact, the Saharanpur riot between Sikhs and Muslims goes to show how wrong the basic assumption of that communal violence bill was. Because the communal violence bill, the presumption was that the majority community is always the perpetrator of violence and the minority community is the victim. In Saharanpur, it is two minority communities.
Right.
And it is because of these flaws that it is good that the communal violence bill has not been enacted. It should not ever be enacted. At the same time, let's not be under any illusion that only laws and law and order machinery can prevent communal riots, can promote communal peace and harmony. It is essentially the duty of society. And the worrisome aspect is that in Indian society, the society's internal dispute resolution mechanism, conflict resolution mechanism, these mechanisms have become dysfunctional.
Very fair point.
And it is politics. It is politics played by all political parties which is not allowing society to take care of small disputes. And these disputes become conflicts, conflicts become riots. So we must empower the communities, the local communities, influential, respected, well-meaning leaders of all communities. They should regularly meet, they should resolve small disputes amongst themselves, which will make the duty, the burden of the law and order machinery much, much lighter.
So then the law is very important, but the change of heart, it comes before law, but law has to be there, and this law has to be strengthened. And because of various political parties, especially BJP, this prevention of communal and targeted violence bill, it could not be passed. It is there in the parliament since 2011. Something has to be done about it. It has to be actually given jaws. It has to be given strength. If it is not done, I think these riots will continue. This is very unfortunate.
Mr. Gandhi, there's been a lot of criticism of the communal violence bill. One part of that criticism is that there are plenty of laws which already exist in the country. It is implementation of these laws which has failed for all sorts of reasons. Do you think we need more legislation, or do you believe that the present laws are adequate?
I think just making new laws is not going to resolve any issue. There has to be, the change has to come from within and not without. And if the change only comes because of the fear of punishment, then that is not going to be permanent, or neither is it going to be sincere. It will only be as long as the fear of the punishment is there. It will be there as soon as they find ways to circumvent the punishment that could accrue to them. They will again start behaving above the law, as we see always in all cases of rioting and arson, not only communal. The record of the accused being convicted is so abysmal. Even if there are cases, look right from the time of independence, how many of those who were accused in the communal riots or any kind of riot in this nation have been actually punished judicially. You will see that the implementation of the laws is not sincere and it's corrupted, and that's where what I'm saying is that if we truly want to battle communalism, we must insulate it from politics.
Okay.
No, I have a couple.
Nalin, I'm completely out of time on this debate. I'm sorry, we completely run out of time over here. But I think the larger points which you raised, Mr. Gandhi, the fact that...
Vishnu, to end up, I have a couplet.
Sir, well, if you have a couplet,
yes.
So go right ahead.
It goes like this. मस्जिद भी ले लो, मंदिर भी ले लो, गिरजा भी ले लो, गुरुद्वारा भी ले लो, इंसान के लहू से मगर अब न खेलो.
All right. Well, we'll end this debate.
विष्णु, गुजरात मॉडल पूरे देश में इम्प्लीमेंट ना हो इस तरह का, and communal harmony is necessary.
Since everybody is making a political point, I must extend to be fair.
I don't want a couplet or anything. I just want to say that Sudhindra ji and Tushar ji added 2 points that were substantive, and I think it's a matter of society. Because at the end of the day, we also have a critical problem with 3.3 crore cases pending in the courts. The justice system in any case is overburdened and slow, and therefore justice delayed is justice denied.
All right, justice delayed.
So we need to move. So therefore we have to work on all fronts. It just can't be any one.
All right, we'll leave it at that. I'd like to thank all of you very much for joining us.